You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm on your host, Wanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are
Road Break.
And how's every single one of you? You know, both families on YouTube and Facebook one more time. We're ready to talk about SmackDown. And like you said, the show started out really on the top. It started out really good. Great opening match, long, good opening segments. But then, you know, the show went like, like I completely switched gears to like, something not as entertaining. You know, we didn't see anything from Roman, just like involving the storyline with the Usos and the Street Profits. But, it was what it was. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. Normally, you kind of want to build up to a big main event. And the match that everybody wanted to see, the one they were building for, 2-3 weeks now? I think about like maybe 2 weeks. There was the Usos and the Street Profits, and that's what we saw to open the show. That really should have been the main event, even though the tag titles were on the line, if, you want to call that a tag title match and not a bullshit match. Mm-hmm. But we'll get to that when we get there. But, like you said, they start out real hot. And then by the end of the show, everybody was falling asleep, I think.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like I don't know what happened, like I said to you. It wasn't that great. Pato is right here. Hola, Pato. ¿Cómo estás? Gracias por apoyarnos, Pato. Thank you for the support that you always give us. And so, I'm talking about support. The support with this video, family. Like, the best of is yet to come for Trent 7 NXT UK review. The best show in the WWE. And, Trent 7 finally gets a win over Sam Gradwell. Pretty good stuff. And also, more like for Meiko Satomura, Kaylee Ray, Jean-Paul. The show is actually shaping up to be a really good one in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. And they said next week they're going to have the big match, Rampage Brown, Joe Coffey, Meiko Satomura, like you mentioned, in 2 weeks, Kaylee Ray. I'm really excited. This is definitely my favorite show that we cover each and every week. Good wrestling, solid wrestling, continued storylines that make sense, that don't insult your intelligence. So, go check out our review.
Exactly. No, don't forget to do that, family. So, this show started out with Jey Uso with Roman. They're going to have this match. The Usos are back together. They're again, a tag team, so they're going to go against the Street Profits. So, Roman goes hey, represent me and all of that. And he's like, well, we're together on this. And he's like, well, we'll tell your brother that. And then he had an interaction with Jimmy. So what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, this was good because Roman, he still is the head of the table. He still needs to, make sure that his, family or, whatever, his cousins aren't, pretty much bringing him down because, like he said, he's the one who represents all them. So if any of his family look like shit, it makes him look like shit. So he's like, you're going to go out there and you're going to win these, right? Because If you don't, you know what that means. And also you see how Jimmy's all hyped up and he's trying to get Jay to feel, ooh, oh, remember how we were as the Usos? But then Roman's like, no, you're my right-hand man. You're not, you're not just Jimmy and Jey Uso. You're not the Usos anymore. So you see, Jay's kind of conflicted. He's, caught in the middle of all this.
It's very conflicting. He wants to be, he doesn't know where really to go. That's the main problem that he has. He wants to please both. I think he wants to please Roman. He wants to please, Jimmy. So it's a really tough situation where he's at. But then, the show opened up with this match with the Street Profits and the Usos, and the Street Profits were kind of a promo. They said, hey, last week we were making fun of them, but this week is all serious, especially when they go in the ring. So I like this, this version of the Street Profits didn't bother me as much. I know normally, when they're all the way to 100. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this promo was good, but it did get a little bit hokey, and especially, even though some of the shots were good when the Usos came out and they started doing, the rap battle, kind of back and forth a little bit, throwing the insults and, but the Street Profits were a little bit, a little bit too Street Profit-y for me here. I felt they could have been a little more serious, but I did love when Jimmy was calling them Mario and Luigi and stuff, and he's like, we're going to break these blocks over your head. Some good lines that they were throwing out.
Especially, they throw Nintendo for us. We love it. And also, the good thing is, they said, hey, we're going to be the soon-to-be 7-time World Tag Team Champions. Always said, we've been dominating, this stuff, the tag team division for years. So it's fine that we're together. We're ready to kick some ass. And, welcome. And they did a welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. So that was cool.
Yeah, and to close it with that.
2017.
Yes, exactly what I was just going to say. That it takes you back to that time, and you're like, oh yeah, when they always say going to put you on lockdown, and it's like, yeah, we were all put on lockdown, so maybe no more lockdowns, but
Yeah, no, they change the word. Don't
yeah,
use it.
exactly.
Give
But
it like a
I mean,
different word.
yeah, no,
But
this took me back to that time, and it does get you excited, and I was really excited for this match.
yeah, exactly. So like this was actually, and they gave us like a good portion of the show. My what, like 20 minutes with like the picture in picture and all of that. So like this was really really good. They went at it, and like Jay, Jimmy, like they always like look like a good tag team. They didn't miss a step because how Jay's been doing the singles thing. A lot of action. What did you think of it? I really enjoyed this. Because like the Usos were actually presented even better than the Street Profits for me.
Oh yeah, they needed to be the star. They had to win, and we knew they were going to win. But that still didn't take away from this match. I thought Montez Ford especially looked really good, and Angelo Dawkins. Angelo Dawkins was the one who made all the big comebacks. He made both of the comebacks for the Street Profits. Besides the one time when like Montez was in there and he was just getting beat up for how many minutes, and then all of a sudden he just fired up and made his own comeback. But besides that, really good. That that big dive that he had to the outside, taking out the Usos and stuff was impressive. And this was really good. But and I like this picture, like you have that too, because like Roman, he needs to watch it, make sure his boys aren't, just throwing mud on the family name.
Exactly, they're not disrespecting. They're not making them look bad. And then like you said, I like. Did you like this? Like it's like a neck breaker, but at the same time, kind of like a hammerlock that like Montez Ford does, or I'm sorry, like Angelo Dawkins did. That got to get the win. That was really cool move. I like that, and he does a decent spine buster. But this one was really. This should be his finisher. I think really cool. Like, and then you see like Jimmy like responding to the 2 count for that. But then we got to see more like Montez Ford missed actually the 5-star frog splash, and then that allowed Jimmy to hit like a super kick to the head, and 1, 2, 3, and the Usos get the win. So legit stuff. You see, like at least as a unit, when Jay wants to support Jimmy, there's still that Uso penitentiary stuff. There's still that tag team that was really good in 2017, and they wanted that big match with the Young Bucks. So I'm excited for that. We'll see what like the roles play, the involvement in what up to is like. Is he going to stay with Jimmy? Is he going to go with Roman, or like they're going to do this thing that they're going to be the tag team champions? We'll see what happens on that.
Yeah, no, this was a really good, start to SmackDown. Like we said, the show started out real hot, and we're like, okay, let's see, if they can continue that. And did they take us to the next segment?
Yeah, the next one, like the Dirty Dogs. That was going to be the main event. So we were all scratching our heads, and you guys can see, maybe you can hear my head scratching because we see the Dirty Dogs, and then they're cutting a promo. What happened, on WrestleMania Backlash? Why did you lose the titles? Well, like we kind of like play a different strategy. We took out Dominic, and it seems like Ray like brought up like this fight inside of the champion, like he was like the dad. He wanted to show like Dominic that he can do it on his own, and that's when we actually missed. But this time the strategies changed. We're good. We know what we need to do. We're gonna get our titles back. So like to have this as the main event, I was like, really, like that to me already said like, oh, we kind of had some issues like creating this new episode. So for me, like the feud is okay, but it was never reached to the heights to main event a show.
Oh yeah, and this match, this feud. We know that this isn't going to be the main thing because, what have they been saying? Oh, the Street Profits were the tag team champs for, the pretty much a year or over a year, with the SmackDown and Raw title reigns combined. And they're like, they did this all when the Usos were out of action. So this is really a match to crown, like who's the best team. We have a loaded division here on SmackDown. Whoever wins this opening match will probably be the new #1 contenders after our main event. So the story wasn't the Dirty Dogs versus the Mysterios. It was the Usos who now won going against the Mysterios.
Yes,
so we know
that we said that, so like they had to give us this match just to set us up for what is going to be next.
So, everything that Ziggler and Rude said, you didn't care, you didn't believe because you knew they weren't going to win this match.
Yes,
tonight.
Exactly. You were like, just saying me whether you guys are going to lose anyway. So like, let's go by like from like male tag team to the women's, and we got to see Natalya and Tamina going against the Riot Squad. This was like supposed to be for me. This should be the main feud. This should be like a long feud because the Riot Squad are actually good in the ring, Liv and Ruby. But in the same token, like they're never in the show. They're never consistent. They're never like we get to see it now. The next time we'll see them, we will be like in 3 months. So that's why like I don't understand why they never push the Riot Squad. Despite that, the match was pretty decent. Ruby looked okay, although they botched that like tag team move that they wanted to do. I don't know if you picked up on that when she did like a shoulder. Like that would look awful.
Yeah, and I love when what McAfee was like, oh yeah, I don't think they got all of it, but I know what they were going for there. It's like, so
yeah. They had to like fix
but
it somehow.
I mean, Ruby and Liv, it's the same story every time we see them. I want to get behind this team. I want to say push them, but if you go just solely by what we see on TV, they randomly appear, and when they appear, it's in a match like this that they just lose. Ruby Riot's the one who always gets the pin. I guess Liv doesn't get pinned because she's hot. I don't know.
That's
but,
fine.
It's just like Ruby gets pinned.
Damn you, Bo Dallas. Damn you. Yeah. Yes.
Ruby gets pinned. It's the same story every time. Excuse me. And it's like, this doesn't do anything for them. If you wanted to get these women over, just have them in a match against, who take 2 women from the Performance Center. It don't matter. Throw them in a random, 2 single. It don't matter because they're just in there to get Liv and Ruby over.
Match, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get them over, and then then that's how you build up to a title feud. Because this doesn't do anything for. We have
we have Tom Libel in the house. He says, "What's going on, fellas?" So we're talking about Natalia. So he's going to be pissed because for some reason he.
I was going to say we're pretty much done, so he'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be okay. So at the end, Tamina and Natalia get the win. Like you said, an awful splash. Tamina does not know how to hit like her dad splash, so like that's something that she needs to really like learn, because the super kick is okay and the Samoan drop I think is pretty decent, but like the Jimmy Snuka splash, absolutely terrible. But like you said, these 2 girls need to be pushed, because what's the point of having them in a team if they never win? Maybe
it doesn't make any sense, and I don't think a singles run would do good for either of them. Liv, she can't carry herself in promo wise to be in a singles run, and Ruby, she gets pinned and beat every time we see her on TV, so nobody would believe her in a singles run. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. So we'll see, but we'll hopefully please have them something to do. Like you said, get the enhancement talent from the Performance Center, get any tag team, anybody.
Even put them back in NXT and they can go for those tag belts in that division.
That will actually refresh the NXT division, because what do we say on NXT? It's on Tuesdays. We say on the channel, so please watch it. Like they always says, like the same freaking match. So, let's see what like Mr. Libel says. It's 2021. Everyone needs a title nowadays. Good for Natty and laughing my ass off. That's legit. Good stuff. Thank you, Mr. Libel. So we get to see from tag team to another tag team. So we won. Can we get a championship match? Is that how you get opportunities nowadays, Jean-Paul? You just go, I won something. Hey, I won a title match.
Well, you got to remember, what does their cousin do? Their cousin runs the show, so they probably think, oh, yee. They're like, Adam Pearce, give us what we want. And he's like, okay, I'll just do whatever you want. Should I just bend over for Roman? Okay. But I mean, we knew that was how it was going to happen anyway. Whether they asked for it and this segment happened, or whether we just saw the graphic. Oh, next week. We knew it was going to lead to a tag match. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Before we even know it, that the graphic is right there. So he said, yeah, I want to consider it. Pretty much. He's like, yeah, you have the match. That's fine. I'm just here to grant matches to anybody. Wishes, like not John Cena is like Adam Pearce grants wishes everywhere, Like he should deserve the Ultimate Warrior award, because how great of a wrestler he was, according to Dark Side of the Ring, right? Very talented, very creative, according to Jim Cornette. There you go. You want to watch it after this, though. Let's go to Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair going against Carmella. This was an okay match. Carmella came out. She said, hey, I'm twice. I won Money in the Bank twice. Former SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm going to, try to get this title. I need a title because I came out with a new gimmick and done. And Corey Graves is not even in the show with me. And so I'm going to, start dating McAfee now. So, I'm pretty confused Carmella. So she's going to have the match with Bianca Belair. Bianca look okay, but you get to see Bayley, your ding dong. She gets in the commentary. See Michael Collin, right? So she's back again. So you see, the match was okay. Pretty quick, decent. Kiss of Death, 1, 2, 3, done. Okay, Bianca Belair gets the win. Why? She needs something to do. And then you're going to prolong this feud with Bayley. So that's okay. And then you see at the end, Bayley's right there. And then she's, still taunting her. So we'll see what happens, but we know that, maybe Money in the Bank or the Hell in a Cell is going to have another match, and hopefully Bayley gets the title away, because Bianca doesn't feel special for me. It's nothing it doesn't feel like they're doing something with her,
Yeah, and that's because they had no real credible heels or anything built up. Not saying Bayley isn't good, because Bayley's great, but that's all you had. There was no Sasha Banks. I feel like there really needed to be maybe another rematch with Sasha, because the crowd was so hot for that match. People still saying, oh, that was the best match of WrestleMania weekend. All this stuff we still keep hearing. but then it was once and done. Boof, Sasha just vanished into thin air.
Yeah,
So
like, she's on vacation,
yeah.
I guess,
And also,
report.
this match, the whole narrative was just, oh, she used the hair, she cheated, and then they're like, oh, Bayley, I think you tried to use the hair first, so it's only your fault, blah blah blah. It was just going back and forth, and the whole time, yeah, Carmella looked okay in here, but shouldn't you be trying to also build Carmella up? So maybe after the Bayley feud, she can go against Bianca, because getting beat here, now I don't want to see them in a title feud, because what's the difference?
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same match. Yeah.
You got the opportunity, you lose. It's like that means you're not ready to even for a title match.
Yeah.
You will win. Maybe Bayley helps her out, then she gets the win. Okay, maybe later on you can lobby for that match. They never do things like that. It's WWE. So let's talk about, the tag team champions, father and son, Rey Mysterio. And Rey says, like, we also have a strategy. We also have a plan, but it's different. Our motivation doesn't have, it's not compared. You can compare it with anything. And, when one of us is hurt, the other one is also hurt. So there's no team in the world that can match us and surpass what we do. So you see a lot of confidence from father and son. Really cool stuff. I mean, different version of Rey Mysterio here, because normally it's like, so I'm good, but not never as good. So you see pretty confident in Rey Mysterio. So that was cool. And Paul, what do you think is SummerSlam confirmation? A lot of reports, like in Las Vegas, Manny Pacquiao is going to have one of his boxing matches on that day. So WWE is going to have to move from Las Vegas, because Las Vegas was going to be the place where SummerSlam was going to be held. But it was confirmed that on Saturday, August 21st, is going to be SummerSlam. They didn't reveal the location yet, but it's going to be the same day that Manny Pacquiao is going to have that match. People who love Manny Pacquiao are going to not turn for SummerSlam. It's okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they figure people will want to watch both, because usually those big fights aren't on until later at night.
Yes.
It depends. So you can watch a little bit of SummerSlam, then you can watch the fight. You'll be in a physical contact sport mood all day. I don't know, but
Exactly.
That's interesting. I'm when they announce stuff like this for SummerSlam, it gets you excited, even though we know it's probably going to be shit compared to the SummerSlams of old, but we still get excited for it. So
exactly, it's one of the main, four. It's one of the main four. We got to get excited, and if it's going to be crowd, so it's going to be different. A lot of matches, Jean Paul. Maybe Bobby Lashley against Brock Lesnar. They're announcing that. Roman Reigns maybe against John Cena. They're saying that could be the main event. No Cesaro. I'm sorry, Superman. Done.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the only what babyface is left that can beat Roman?
Yeah.
Besides, he bring back John Cena or The Rock. I don't think that he beat every other babyface.
Exactly. So you need those two names, and especially Cena. It's going to bring everybody's attention, especially with all this thing that he had with China, saying that Taiwan is is a country. Good job, John. But then in his Chinese version, he addressed the crowd, and a lot of people are, just be really upset at him that he's selling to China and all those stuff. We don't talk about that. That's a topic for another rubric that we do. But let's talk about the birthday guy, Seth Rollins. He comes out and he says, "I'm not here to talk. I'm just here to fight." Cesaro, he's talking about Cesaro one more time. He's like, "I don't have time for you. My people is planning a party for me." But then he played that sound that you said it turned out to be a fart, right?
All right, it's at least that's what it sounded like to me, because he was blaming Cesaro. And he's like, listen, the reason why Cesaro's in a hospital and all this stuff, yeah, it's his fault. And maybe part of it's my fault. But, the biggest person to blame is all of you. All of the WWE universe for getting behind him, encouraging him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He tried to step up to me, and he tried to just move past me like that. No, I'm not finished with him yet and everything. So you see Rollins, he still hates him. And he's like, here, I have a some audio, something like that, from Cesaro's hospital room, and it was making some noise. He was like, oh, almost sounded like a zombie. And then what sounded to me like a big fart. I don't know, because he was laughing. He's like, ha ha, I tricked you all. He's like, Michael Cole, he wasn't expecting that one. And then Michael Cole's even laughing. You heard him laughing. He's like, oh, yeah, so, ha, ha, ha. Everything.
This is the part of the show that is really whatever. Because there was not really hey, announcement for Hell in a Cell. You didn't see intensity in Rollins. It's just hey, it's my birthday.
Yeah, I mean, see, he could have did that from his hospital room, blah, blah, blah. Then on the Titantron, you could have saw Cesaro somewhere. Maybe he has a cast on or something. He's like, Rollins, blah, blah, blah. You say I'm going to step past you. No, I'm not stepping past you. I'm stepping with you inside Hell in a cell, blah, 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 boom, like we're going to settle it here. We're going to finish this, then I will move past you. Then I will challenge and I will defeat Roman Reigns for the Universal title, cut a legit promo, do something like that. And,
and
boom.
it gives the build up,
And then Rollins can be screaming in the ring, shaking the ropes because Ultimate Warrior, we're on the subject, he can be screaming, going crazy and everything.
Exactly.
So
It's the week of the Ultimate Warrior. The greatest and the most talented wrestler ever, the Ultimate Warrior. Tom Leibel says Seth's suit looks like he ripped off of a Chief Hotel shower curtain. Yep,
that's
exactly,
the style.
Tom. We want your thoughts about the Ultimate Warrior. Since we're all like in this subject of the Ultimate Warrior, so let us know about that. But before we go to do that, Paul, this match, we got to get Apollo Crews against Kevin Owens. It wasn't for the title. A lot of people are saying that it was for the title, but as you can see in the graphic, it wasn't for the title. So they go at it. A pretty good match. Owens, like, at least is having like good matches lately with a lot of the guys, so it's pretty cool. And, this seems like this feud is going to take over after Big E. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. And, Sami Zayn, of course, they don't like him. They don't know. I don't know why he's even signing the WWE. But, like, they have the match. What did you think of it? Aziz or Aces or, he got involved. So he ended up hitting Owens. And the match turned out to be a DQ. And Owens got the win. But what do you think of it?
I mean, the match really didn't... wasn't even a match for me. It was real quick. Kevin Owens looked good. He was setting up the stunner. And then, like you said, Baba Ganoush got involved. He hit the Samoan spike. And then it was like, so. And you knew this feud was going to continue. And I mean, to me, I didn't like that. Like, if you were going to do something, maybe have, I mean, I know this kind of would kill a lot of his heat and everything, but you kind of just maybe have Apollo distracting the ref, or Aziz distracts the ref or something. And then, Apollo gets the win in like a cheating way, but it's not just straight up, a DQ. Because, I mean, Apollo could just win all his matches like that.
And Apollo looks crappy,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's,
a really weak champion.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually, Aziz is just going to be barred from ringside, which is pretty much what, we got the announcement later on tonight. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It wasn't good. I didn't care for how this was done.
How you said, like, you see, like, after the Samoan spike and the good days of good old Umaga. You remember those days, like, with like Armando.
I mean, at least he was badass.
Oh no, yeah, Umaga was badass. So we will do some rubrics just to talk about old guys that are no longer with us, unfortunately. But he's like, hey, I want Apollo for the belt. And then another one, the Mr. Grand Wishes. He goes, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, you got it. No Baba Ganoush, okay? No Ganoush. You're good. Are we good, Kevin? Okay, that's fine. So they're gonna have a match next week. So let's see what Tom Leibel says. I was a fan of the Warrior as a kid. Who wasn't? We weren't. I was never a fan of the Ultimate Warrior. I'm sorry, Tom. And as I'm older now, I realized he was a man of a few moves, just like Cena. His intensity was one of a kind, and that's how he got him over with all the fans. Still a fan of the Warrior, though. All right, there you go. Some people love him. Some people
the only thing I'll say on that is Cena at least understands wrestling psychology.
Put people over.
And all that. Yeah, like he can do that. Like they said, Warrior, his mindset was, well, I have a better body than everybody, so I should just win all the time.
Yeah, like the Ultimate Warrior, the one thing is, like, even the wife said, like, the music, when that music hit, everybody got excited.
The music's legit, and there's no way that you'd be a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, whatever, younger, into wrestling, and you see this guy, like Bischoff and all them said, that he was a legit superhero in real life. Like, he was the only person who is just like, he was a living superhero. He
was like, like, that was like really pumped. Everything went down when he won the title.
Was he a good superhero comic book character in real life? Yes. But was he a good wrestler? No.
Oh, no. Yeah, exactly. So, like, when we won that title, absolutely done. That was the demise of the Ultimate Warrior right there. But, at least watch those specials, family. Tom, watch both. Let us know what you think about it. So let's go back to, like, our tribal chief. In this line, it was absolutely grateful. That for me was like the most legit thing. Is like, I remember, like, when you were with me, I made you main event. Uso, like, you're legit, you're like main eventing every single time with me, we're together, we're a unit. Now your brother comes back, and then first match, like, once again you go back to like the beginning of the show. You're like not legit anymore, so you got to think about this, Jay. It's like,
yeah, and I like too when he goes, he's like, hey, do you want to be the main event Jey Uso, or do you want to go back to being, is he Jimmy or Jay? Which one is he? And, it's kind of interesting when he said that about the match. Like, oh, you went back to opening match when that match was the most hyped match, in the past, 2 weeks.
Yes.
On SmackDown. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, we all want to see this match. You had a bunch of people saying how excited they were. Oh, this match, it's a match in the making. We all wanted to see it, blah, blah, blah. So even though it was the opening match, that don't mean that it was, it was the best match on the show. But he twists those words to kind of, to get in Jay's head, to mess him up and everything, so it's really good. But like I said, it's funny if you want to think about it, because it's like, even though it was the opening match, I still think it was a pretty hyped up, important match.
And that like nowadays, that like the first match also counts even as much as like the main event, because you will keep watching the show if the first match is good.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
like you said, but like the way he twisted those words, even Jay goes like, only to think about those days that like nobody knew if I was Jay or Jimmy makes me really feel bad. So Roman says, well, maybe you should have thought about this because your brother is not. So there you go. Like exactly. Like the one thing that like you're convincing me of is like Roman, the way they're portraying him is like really, really good. Is the best like version of Roman just because of like the words. Everything he says is believable. So like Mr. Libel says, I'm really digging the storyline with Roman and the Usos. Hope the writers don't ruin it and build this up for maybe a family affair and bring back Alpha and Sika and The Rock. The storyline has so many good angles and so many angles that it can go to.
Yeah, they did have Alpha and Sika. They can remember they had the lay, like the thing they
like
put it
crown
on.
It as the trailer. So maybe they bring him again,
Yes, like, I mean that would be, and then, like we said, if you're building this up, the only person to beat Roman would be The Rock. But do we really want to see The Rock win the belt? Even if he wins it and then relinquishes it or does some bullshit, do we really want to see him? No, whoever beats Roman needs to have a legit title reign. That's why I would say maybe Cena or something. Yeah. I don't know if he has the time to give another title reign or anything, but this is a great, like you said, this is the best version of Roman, definitely by far. I agree with it. The tribal chief to me is, the way that they're presenting him, it's so good. You almost don't even want to see anybody beat him.
Exactly. You're right, Paul. But like even Tom said, and I was going to say that, bring back Rikishi. Do the Sting face. That was the best thing in wrestling. Super kick.
I want him to have like, Cesaro in the corner, like Jimmy and Jay are like holding his arms over the ring, and he's like, no. And then he looks at Rikishi.
The thong, and then you see like the ass, and then
he's like Rikishi, give him the ass, and he's like he's like anything for, I did it for the tribal chief.
I did it for Ruben. I did it for dude, that would be amazing. Hopefully they do that. I mean, writers, you guys, I know we're listening. You guys are listening to us. Please do it. So now let's talk about Shinsuke Nakamura, the King of Strong Style, Paul, with Rick Boobs or Booge. I thought it's boobs, but anyway, like you said, he didn't play the guitar too good in this one, but at least, it's a different entrance for Nakamura. It's a different buy for him, finally, to have a guy that, like, plays an instrument for you live. I think it enhances Nakamura a lot better. And like you said, how, like, they put Pat McAfee enjoying himself, selling it, that's really good for Naka. And he went against Chad Gable, like, another quick stuff, really, really, really fast. And Otis attacking from the beginning, like, leaving a little bit done. But then he took care of Chad Gable really quick.
Yeah, what do you think of it? Yeah, I mean, he looked good in here. Having Rick Boogs with him, it definitely helps kind of get Nakamura over a little bit more. Because, I mean, if you really like, just strong style wrestling and you're a fan of Nakamura in NXT, this guy's legit, so you're still a fan of him. But maybe more casual audience going, oh, who is this guy? He's Japanese. He's a little weird. I don't know. You can't get behind him. You see Boogs out there. He's like an 80s hair metal guitarist, everything. So that can kind of be like the, oh, okay, well, this guy's kind of cool. He's with Nakamura, then they get over that way. And, Corbin came out during this. So you see, that's really the main feud. Boogs kind of went after him and everything. And that's the one thing I said, too. This is how you get him, introduced to feuds, and in the ring, people can start fighting him when he's playing Nakamura's theme. Absolutely. And everything. So, I mean, this was all right. This was a match that, it was needed to continue this mid-card feud that hopefully Nakamura goes over. Then maybe he challenges Apollo Crews, and maybe he's the one, who becomes the Intercontinental Champion again. I don't know. We got to wait and see.
But we have our boy, Steven Butler. He says his last name is Bush. or
Boogs,
Boogs.
yeah, Boogs.
We'll just say boobs, to make it fun, Steven.
Yeah.
Like we're just like, who doesn't like boobs? There you go. So that's why. But like you said, we get this picture, and I agree with you. The only thing we see Naka's Intercontinental Champion. Can he actually win a World Championship? That would be cool. At least for me, before he leaves, like maybe to AEW or another company, it will be cool to see him winning the big title, right? Because we've seen it. He was United States, he was an Intercontinental, he was NXT champion. Why can't he just be one of the main titles? But like this is for me, like it's working really good. But I don't want to see this feud with Corbin ending maybe next week, and then after that, better feuds for this. Because this again, it can only run for so long, at least for me, So let's go now to like the main event, and then we got to see Rey Mysterio. He was praying before they go out to the match because Dominic goes is like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "No, I'm praying, son." And then Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler attack him, and you got to see like the same story but backwards. They flip off the roles, and then Rey Mysterio gets all taken down, and now Dominic is going to fight for the family. So this was to me a little bit, too predictable. It didn't seem like creative at all. So what did you think about it? I didn't like this too much.
No, I didn't like it either because, like you said, it was the same story, the same narrative. The Dirty Dog's like, "Oh, we didn't do it," and of course Michael Cole's like, "Oh, I don't know, I think they did it," and it's like, we don't care if they did it or they didn't do it because we didn't care, but we didn't care about this, earlier in the night. We definitely don't care about it now. You're just ruining this feud, and you got to think. With the title match, because, we'll just skip ahead. Of course, the Mysterios won. I mean, we'll still talk about the match, but the main feud is the Usos versus the Mysterios. And you got to think, let's say the Mysterios drop it to the Usos. This big father and son tag team that should have felt special. They should have had a legit run. Their first and only title defense is a match that they didn't even get to wrestle together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they end up dropping it to the Usos. But it's like, that's kind of shitty for the Mysterios. It's almost like you brag it up that it's something so cool, and then it's really not. Because, again, Dominic wrestles not even 99. He wrestles 100% of this match himself. Rey Mysterio never comes in to tag in. At the end, he comes limping out. It distracts him. Dominic is able to get the win. But, this pretty much, it didn't do anything for Dominic. It didn't do anything for Rey. The only thing it did was just bury the Dirty Dogs to say two guys couldn't beat one.
Yeah,
especially one guy who's hasn't even been here a year. He's green. He's not in like a veteran. He shouldn't be anywhere near as good as Ziggler and Roode storyline wise, and we know he's not as good as them shoot wise. So this kind of just really buried them. To me, they're not credible anymore. And it didn't do anything to make the Mysterios feel any more legit.
The little bit that like the Dirty Dogs always had. Remember when they were Raw Tag Team Champions like a few years ago? That was like the stock was like this. Now, like it was like this, and after this, it's just nothing.
Yep.
So what do you do with these guys? Yeah. What do you do with those guys? What? Like they've been buried by losing to one guy, like you said. The problem, bring Bobby Roode to NXT. That's fine. Glorious Bobby Roode. Please bring him back. And Dolph, he's fine just floating around. Dolph is just like that. He just wants his paycheck. You give me a title, I'm good. You don't, it's okay. I still have my moves. I put my flips. I do the super kick, the zigzag. Everybody kicks out of it. It's fine. The famous there, it's fine. Billy Gunn probably gets pissed every single time that somebody kicks out of it. It's okay. We're all good. So like the end, the big stare down. This was cool though, because for me, family against each other. That was the main story, like you said. Are they gonna drop the title to the Usos though? Probably. Why? Because again, Jimmy said that. He's like, what if we're all champions? Then we'll all be equal as you, Roman. Because remember, if Roman owns like the singles division, being the tag champion means that like you own the tag division. So I think if they do that, it really sucks for the Mysterios, but they gave us the moment. So everybody should be like, yeah, we got it. And then now let's have the long run for like Jimmy and Jay. Hopefully, maybe it happens on pay-per-view at Hell in a Cell. That would be fine, or even better.
The only thing I could say is maybe they're trying to make us all think that, okay, the Usos are back. They have all this momentum. It'll be, they have the tag belts. Roman has his belt because that's what Jimmy was saying. Oh, we're all going to hold gold Uso. We're all going to do it for the family, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's what they're trying to trick us into thinking, oh, that's the obvious thing, but they're actually going to lose. And then this is going to cause the friction where Roman's going to be like, I told you, don't do this. Don't, be putting yourself in these matches unless you're going to win. Now you lost to the Mysterios. Ray's a midget. His son is a loser. You lost to them. You're not in my family anymore. Blah blah blah, and then it causes the friction there. So maybe they'll go that route. It's hard to say, but I still think it's a little too soon because the Mysterios are most likely going to lose. They like I said, they might go that other route, but it might be too soon to split up the family just yet.
And you know what Tom says? Dolph is the most underrated wrestler on SmackDown roster, and yes, Bobby Roode should be back in NXT. Dolph is great. We know what Dolph is capable of. Dolph is just fine with whatever they give him, and that's the problem. He never complains anymore because he's kind of getting in that older side. Hey, I'm still in the WWE. I'm good. Do I need to go to NXT? No. Do I need to go in New Japan? No. I don't want to do that much effort. I just want to stay there, be comfortable. Hey, you want to give me the tag belts? Hey, we'll put you with Roode. Legit, I'll do it. You want to fight for the title?
Exactly. And he sees what his brother is, having to do on AEW. So he's probably like, so.
Paying a lot of dues, right? But the one thing about SmackDown, we didn't hear from Aleister Black. That's a missed opportunity because everybody was asking, what is he going to say? Why did he do what he did, to Big E? We didn't hear from him. So everybody's like, so at least I'm scratching my head what happened? Could you make the show? What's going on? So, or are you watching AEW? Is that why? Because it's 10 o'clock. You want to watch your friends over there or something? Or they debut of your wife? Something? I don't know, but I didn't like the fact that they didn't continue. They didn't give me an explanation on that. But besides that, the show is okay. A lot of rumors also. Sasha Banks and Edge are going to be back in July just for that show that is going to have crowds when they start that mini tour, 25 cities and all of that. It's going to be okay. So what do you overall, I feel a decent SmackDown. Not awful, but we want to see what's going to happen with Cesaro, Rollins, especially Roman too.
Yeah, I mean, SmackDown overall is still the best main roster show for WWE. It might even be the best out of the three, including NXT. But, this was a little bit of a week. But I still think overall it was solid. Great opening match. You did some stuff to kind of build the main event scene. But we still don't really know who, if anybody's going to be challenging Roman. He probably won't even have a match for the Universal title at Hell in a Cell. They'll probably give him the pay-per-view off. So it's really interesting to see where you go from there. Is Rollins and Cesaro kind of the number one contenders feud still? We don't really know, but Bayley Bianca is okay. But I think everything is still just Roman Reigns and the family. That's really the main
affair is the best thing that
exactly.
So, Paul, I want your thoughts really quick before we go. A New Japan Pro Wrestling and the WWE in talks. That's been the headline. That's been the biggest news of the day. Daniel Bryan has been the person that has been trying to get these two sides to cooperate. Maybe they see a possible exchange of talent. Maybe top guys going to New Japan, top guys from New Japan going to WWE. Is that good? A lot of people are already shitting on it. And it's everything that WWE touches is bad. Remember what happened with NXT UK, closing all those companies in the UK and Evolve. What do you think? Is something good or to me, I feel that hey, you gotta keep opening territories. You gotta keep building.
I would say this is fine. Look how much talent they got from Japan, especially on the women's side. I mean, now this isn't a woman. I mean, you have Nakamura, Kushida, okay, but all the women, Meiko Satomura, Asuka, Io, Kairi Sane, Saray. You bring in all these women. There's probably more in the PC and stuff who we don't know about, but it's you do all this stuff. You bring in a lot of talent from over there. Why not put in an NXT or a performance center or something over there, get some talent, and then also bring in the big New Japan stars. You could do a Worlds Collide with New Japan. Just have it be a show. No storyline implications. Oh, here's one of our guys, Drew McIntyre. Maybe Bobby Lashley's still the champ. Okay, you do Drew McIntyre versus, I don't know, Kazuchika Okada or something like that. Oh my God, this match is crazy. And if Lashley's the champ, maybe Lashley comes in, causes a DQ, and then so Okada doesn't have to lose. Lashley doesn't have to lose. Whatever. You could do something, or you take the two top baby faces and the two top heels and you do a tag match. There's a lot you could do that it won't hurt any company if they want to be oh, well, we don't want our guys to look bad or whatever, but it's a really good opportunity. And especially because, not only for WWE, but to take that away from AEW.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing. And Tony Khan addressed that, but we will address all of that when we do AEW tomorrow. So, family, we can stay tuned for that. So, we will address, because Tony Khan was also like cutting, not a great promo. I mean, the stuff that he said was okay, but like the way he delivers is just like is like a 5-year-old. Hey, saying that he has money, so it doesn't look good. But like you said, like we already, Drew was actually eyeing at Kazuchika Okada, so we'll see. I mean, what do you think of Survivor Series? Hey, New Japan invasion against the WWE. So that will be
like
cool.
I said, you don't even. I mean, people are gonna want it to be storyline, but I don't know. I feel like the beginning of it's always cool, but then when you get to the end, it's okay. Well, who's gonna do the job? And everyone sits there like, so
I don't want
So that's why just do like a super show. Just do like a show maybe once or twice a year that doesn't have to do anything with storylines and whatever. But I mean, whatever they do, I'm definitely excited for it.
Exactly. So the good stuff. I mean, like they have to like start collaborating. WWE new mentality. It seems that they're gonna like acknowledge everybody else. So that's fine. So like we always acknowledge everybody else. So thank you everyone for like watching us. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. And like we said, tomorrow AEW the show, because it's happening right now as we speak. So that's why we gotta watch it, and then we can actually talk about it. So where else can they find us, Paul?
And don't forget to follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
So family, tomorrow AEW, and have a great night. And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is